How's it rockin', Dween Nation? You're listening to the Dween Sports Podcast. We're about to get underway. But before you give us a listen, we'd love if you could like, comment, subscribe, and share. We are posting weekly sports content, and we want to build up the brand that is Dween Sports. Thank you all, and enjoy.
Welcome in Dween Nation. This is your host, Justin Paez, alongside Janoah Agudelo, and we're here to discuss Week 15 and our rapid-fire game picks. It's the most fun of the week. We get to go as fast as possible to pick all of the winners and losers of Week 15, the first round of the fantasy playoffs, but we still pick the same. But before we dive into all of that, how you doing, Janoah?
Yo, Dween Nation. How's it going, Justin? It's going to be a great weekend there, Justin. We have two game of the weeks there. 3 o'clock game slate there between, the Battle of Pennsylvania there, between Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. But then we have, the battle of the two best teams kind of in the league there with Buffalo visiting Detroit there. And, there's a lot of storyline there with Detroit kind of trying to lock up that one seed as where Josh Allen, the Bills need to kind of, prove a point here. And Josh Allen's, kind of trying to, make his MVP case as well as the Bills trying to, get that one seed and trying to match Detroit on each conference there. And, potentially they can meet there in New Orleans in February. So a big weekend here. Also, we have 2 Monday night games as well as a pretty interesting Sunday night game there, Justin. So very interesting. It's going to be a great weekend there for the kickoff of fantasy playoffs.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited to get down to it, and I'm ready to go. If you want to start or get my time set up.
Absolutely. Yes. Okay. Let's see. I don't remember if I have your last time. I think it was 116. You went through really fast, I remember, last week.
Yes.
But yeah, when you're ready, I'll go ahead and count you down.
All right, count me down.
All right, ready? 3, 2, 1, and go.
All right, so last week was 9-4. This week's going to be better. I have the Niners winning on Thursday Night Football, moving to Sunday. We got the Chiefs and the Browns. Doesn't look like David Njoku's going to play, so I have the Chiefs winning. And then we got Bengals at Titans. I got Cincinnati. We got the Commanders playing the New Orleans Saints with Jake Haener. That's an easy Washington Commanders, especially a Marshawn Lattimore revenge game. Then we got Ravens at Giants. This one's going to be a blowout. I'm pretty convinced. Baltimore wins. Dallas at Carolina. I think Dallas needed that victory last week. They don't have the morale going into this week. Carolina gets the win at home. Jets and Jags. I'm going with the Jets. Dolphins at Texans. This game's going to be a tough one, but I think Houston comes hot out off the bye and they get the victory. Indianapolis at Denver. I'm going with the Broncos. The game of the week, Buffalo and Detroit. I'm going to go with the Lions to win this game. Then we got Steelers at Eagles. I'm going with Philadelphia. No George Pickens this week. Then we got Patriots at Cardinals. I'm going with Kyler Murray and the Cardinals. Then Tampa Bay at the Chargers. I'm going with Tampa Bay. Herbert is questionable, but I think he'll be good to go. Then we got Packers at Seahawks. This game is probably the toughest one to pick. I'm going to go with the Seahawks. They looked awesome last week. Then Monday Night Football, we got a doubleheader. I got the Bears versus the Vikings. I'm going with the Vikings at home. And then we end Week 15 with Falcons at Raiders, and I got the Falcons.
All right, 1 minute and 25 seconds there for you, Justin. Not bad. I mean, no bye weeks, right? There's no bye weeks. Bye weeks are done, so that's actually pretty manageable there. But yeah, when you're ready, I'll go ahead and get started as well.
All right, I'll count you down in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go.
All right, we go to Thursday Night Football where the 49ers host the Rams. Give me the 49ers there. We go to Cleveland where the Chiefs visit them. Give me the Chiefs. They're going to win probably off a last-second field goal or a last-second defensive stop there. We go to Tennessee where they host Cincinnati. Give me Cincinnati there to come out on top. We'll go to New Orleans where they host Washington. Obviously, New Orleans is falling downhill with the quarterback situation. Give me the Commanders. We go to New York where the Baltimore Ravens there visit and give me the Ravens to come out on top. We go to Carolina where they host the Cowboys. Give me the Cowboys to get a road victory there. Cooper Rush has a pretty good game. We go to Jacksonville where they host the Jets. Give me the Jets to get a win before the Jets kind of finish the season off bad. Then we go to Houston. My beloved Texans face the Dolphins. I'm not sure we can cover these pass catchers there in Miami. Unfortunately, I'm going to go with the Dolphins there. We go to Denver where they host the Colts. Give me Denver. That defense is going to be rocking. We go to Detroit where they host the Bills. A shootout, but the Bills finally on the road beat a top team there. We go to Philadelphia where they host the Steelers in the Battle of Pennsylvania. Give me the Eagles there. Without George Pickens there, the Steelers don't move the ball much, I don't think. We go to Arizona where they host the Patriots. I think Arizona runs all over New England there. We'll go to Los Angeles where it's a tight defensive game there. No one really scores a touchdown, but I think the Chargers go on a late go-ahead touchdown by Gus Edwards to win the game. We go to Seattle where I think Jordan Love has a great second half, throwing for 3 touchdowns. Yes, in the second half. Give me the Packers, Justin. Then we go to Minnesota, where I do think that they dominate Chicago. The Bears are just struggling. They're just ready for next season. And then lastly, Atlanta dominates Vegas and Vegas.
Dang, we got 147 for you.
Okay.
I like this week. I mean, last week we had the same takes actually, like pretty fully. And so this week though, we got some differing takes. We got the Seattle Green Bay game. We got the Buffalo Detroit game. And the Carolina-Dallas game. So let's dive into the game of the week. I think that's what a lot of people want to hear about, which is Detroit and Buffalo. What makes you think Buffalo is going to win this football game?
Justin, what I saw last week with what the Bills were able to do on the road, I just think that this is Josh Allen's MVP year. And this is his moment right here to seal the deal with Lamar visiting the Giants, which could get out of hand early. Like I mentioned earlier this week, there could be a special teams touchdown, a couple Derrick Henry touchdowns. Maybe Lamar gets a touchdown there, a couple Justin Tucker field goals, and they're just milking the clock there. Lamar doesn't do anything too special. As we're up, north in Detroit, it's going to be a shootout. And the Lions are very good at home offensively. And I think that Josh Allen is going to do everything he can to counter this Lions team. And this Buffalo defense, they're just not good, I don't think. I just really think that they have a lot of holes there, and I think that Jared Goff's going to be able to throw. And Josh Allen's just going to be playing back and forth, but ultimately in the end, I feel like there's going to be a possession where Josh Allen scores and puts away these Lions. And what I think is that the Lions have been, on a 10-game winning streak, 10, 11-game winning streak since their Week 2 loss against Tampa, and that loss was at home. And I do think that Detroit has one more loss in them. I don't think they finished the season like 16-1. I think 15-2 is their calling card there. So I do think that this is like their loss that they get out the way because everybody's kind of thinking Detroit's going to win the Super Bowl here. So I don't think they win 16, 17 straight to win the Super Bowl since their Week 2 loss. So I think that Josh Allen coming off that loss, that difficult loss in LA last week. They go into Detroit there where there's no weather conditions, nothing to worry about there. And I think that they beast mode there. I think that Amari Cooper is a guy that's going to be an X factor there. Khalil Shakur is gonna have a great game, I believe. And Dalton Knox is a sleeper there. Dalton Knox, and I do like James Cook to get a receiving touchdown there. Not to mention it's the fantasy playoffs, so it's kind of just a no-brainer for Josh Allen to be the ultimate start of the week. Not to mention, and we'll probably talk about this game in a second, where Saquon Barkley in this game against the Steelers could be limited here just because the Steelers are a tough rush defense. And I do think that, maybe Jalen Hurts kind of bounces back with what's going on in the locker room there in Philadelphia. So maybe they kind of want to up the passing game. So that's why I believe that the Bills do win this game.
Yeah, it's tough for me. So when I look at it, I'm trying to see what's the weaknesses, what's the strengths of each team, of course, and what gives me the edge for Detroit. Obviously, they're home. That helps. But where Buffalo struggles the most on their defense is their rushing defense. They're bottom 3 against the run, and obviously the Lions have just about the best rushing duo, in the NFL. So their rushing attack is just, I think that's what Detroit's going to focus on. Monty, Jameer, and then when they need it, Amon-Ra. We saw Puka have a huge game against Buffalo. But I think another thing too is teams that have such a big performance like that, like Josh Allen had with 6 touchdowns, it's got to come down to earth just a bit. And I just think Detroit is riding hot. But this is Detroit's hardest matchup. If they win this game against Buffalo, I think they're just about smooth sailing. I know they got a game at San Francisco and home against the Vikings, but I mean, San Francisco's fallen off a little bit. I know they got the victory last week against the Bears, and then the Vikings are good, but you get to host them. So that's kind of my thoughts on those games. But it's a good split that we have. We'll definitely be watching that. And then the last one that I think these are two teams that I know Green Bay came off a loss, but they're one of the better NFC teams. as well as the Seattle Seahawks, who have just, I think, sneakily been really freaking good. And they get to host, the Packers. I think when everybody thinks of this matchup, they think about, the playoff game where Seattle came out with that victory. Then the catch at the fourth quarter where they both had. You remember that? I forgot what they call it.
The Hail Mary, the Fail
Yeah.
Mary, I think was what it was on Monday Night Football. Yep.
Right, and they both had it. Like there's rivalry to me within these two teams. So I think this game's going to be a bloodbath. And at first I was like, if Ken Walker's out, maybe 2 weeks ago, if Ken Walker's out, Seattle might fall off a little bit. But the way we saw Charbonnet just command that backfield last week, I don't worry about the rushing game. They got JSN, who's really breaking out this year with DK still there. Lockett's still there. I know he's kind of old and out, but I think they're hosting this game. It's an outdoor game with the 12th man that the Seahawks boast. I just think Green Bay's going to have a tough time of it. But what gives you the headway that Green Bay's going to take this one?
I just like Jordan Love's matchup there. I think this defense for the Seahawks are going to be kind of focusing on stopping the run there. Josh Jacobs has been hot. And Jordan Love's kind of due for a big game there. I think Jaden Reed is also due for a big game.
Yeah.
He had a donut last week there on Thursday Night Football against the Lions, I believe. And so, I think that the Packers are, they're chasing the Lions. They're chasing the Vikings kind of up there. And they need to kind of get things going there if they want to secure that second seed. And so, they're even chasing Philadelphia. So the Packers, they are chasing to not be playing on the road. Obviously, they might have to be playing on the road there to begin, the playoffs. But I do think that they need to have a signature win. They haven't really had a signature win all season. I mean, they've had some good wins, but they need to go out there and they need to have a great game on Sunday Night Football. And I believe that Jordan Love is the game to do it. One last thing, Justin. I do have a Super Bowl history matchup. We do have one this week. That is between the Giants and the Ravens. I want to take you back real quick. We're on the road to the playoffs here, a month away. Super Bowl 35, Ravens, Giants. Not much to talk about this game. It was a blowout, 34-7. I think this game was in Tampa. Brian Billick, the coach for the Ravens. And young Ray Lewis, was the MVP of this game. So, we'll have a couple. I think we have a few more kind of throwback Super Bowl matchups there. We have the Giants and the Ravens playing this week. So, want to mention that as we are on the road to the playoffs. Is there any other games, though, Justin, you would like to kind of talk about? I mean, is there any other games that kind of catch your eye?
There's definitely one, and I think that I'm glad you brought up to talk about one more, and it is this Texans-Dolphins game because we are split on this one. You have Dolphins, I have Texans. I guess my thought process in this game is yes, the Texans have been underwhelming on the offensive end just about all season, but I think you coming off the bye, they're really going to put in some reinforcements to make those changes. I think Miami came off of a emotional overtime victory last week against the Jets. And now they come into Houston. I know there's a couple storylines behind this game with Jalen Waddle returning home and Devon Achane. Devon Achane's from Missouri City, so he's not far out. Maybe they want to prove something against, in their hometown. They probably got family at the game kind of thing. So I could see obviously the storyline of it because the Texans too have struggled against wide receivers. You got Tyreek and Jalen Waddle. But I don't know. I think they're going to be coming out hot, especially on the defensive end in this game.
Yeah, Justin, this could also be a revenge game for Mike McDaniels, who once upon a time was an assistant in Houston a long time ago there. And so I did heard that I think he told a story or someone told a story that he kind of got fired. They kind of let go of him. I think Mike McDaniel was going through something like a drinking. I could be wrong. But I think Mike McDaniels kind of got fired by the Texans. And I think that kind of boosted Mike McDaniels to, improve himself as an assistant, a coordinator, whatever it was. And you mentioned those Houston natives there. Achane can have a great game. Waddle could have a great game. But, Tyreek Hill is a guy that really is a guy that he's been hot lately. And I think that, we haven't really seen a deep bomb to Tyreek Hill like we saw last year, Justin. I mean, the first 10 games of 2023, it seemed like Tyreek Hill was catching a bomb outside of 45, 50, 60 even. And this is the game that I think is going to happen. On the other side of the ball, Jalen Ramsey's going to be covering Nico Collins, which I don't really like that matchup for Nico Collins there. And you have a pretty tough pass rush there in Miami. If you guys know me doing sports out there in Dewey Nation, I'm a big Calais Campbell fan. I had him when he was in Arizona, Jacksonville, Baltimore. He is a veteran pass rusher. I wouldn't say he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, but I do think that one day they will call his name to Canton. For Calais Campbell, a veteran pass rusher there, I do believe he's playing for the Dolphins now. And my Texans offensive line is just unbelievably bad, and it's just very concerning. A sneaky Miami defense. They're not the top of the pack. They're not the bottom of the pack. They're just right there in the middle. Concerns me a lot for CJ Stroud. I do think that we're just going to need to establish the run game. We've got to establish run game. If it's to throw in a Gumbawale or a Damian Pierce behind Joe Mixon, so be it. Let's get about 30 to 35 carries between those three backs. Obviously, Mixon will dominate the majority of the carries, but let's run the football, right? Let's run the football. We don't want this Dolphins offense to take the ball that much, right? We don't want them to be on the field that much. And open up the play action, right? You got Nico back. You got Tank there. Hopefully we can involve Mechie or maybe some Robert Woods or some Schultz who scored a touchdown in the win before the bye week. And so we got to figure out something on offense there. One of the things that made CJ so good last year was the play action. And so we got to go back to doing that. Hopefully during this bye week, last week, they were able to figure things out. But it's just so many playmakers on the Dolphins. A guy we haven't even mentioned was Jonnu Smith, who's going to probably have a great game. And so, Tua is a guy that you can start this week on daily fantasy. I'd probably have him on my start of the week, which we can talk about later in another episode. But this is a guy that you can fire up there, daily fantasy. And if you're in the fantasy playoffs, obviously go ahead and fire up Tua. If you have Herbert, I'd start Tua over Herbert. I'd start Tua over Lamar Jackson. I know that's a crazy little bit of a hot take. But this game could be out of reach in New York with the Ravens and the Giants. And so, maybe this could be a shootout in Houston, and Tua is going to be the guy that ultimately be behind it and could win them the game.
Yeah, I mean, I just didn't know that this was also a bold predictions episode with that. I mean, Tua over Lamar. I mean, that's exciting to hear. Dewey Nation, hopefully, if you have that decision, if you can pull that trigger, that's a tough one to do, but he's got the matchup to do so, and I think this game's going to be competitive. So, yes, Dewey Nation, these are our game predictions for Week 15 of the NFL season. Hopefully this helps you in your pick'em leagues or even in your fantasy leagues. Obviously, we got more takes to happen. We got our starts and sits of the week episode. We got bold predictions. So just stay right here on this page and get to watch those. And thank you guys for listening. And Janoah, send us out.
Yes, guys. Thanks, you guys, for watching. This was our bold predictions of the weeks. Let us know what you guys think. Let us know. If there's other teams that you think are going to win. Let us know if you agree, disagree. We'd love to hear you guys' comments and feedbacks there. So we love you guys. Thanks for watching. And as always, peace.